My cat's gonna kill me.
Got some floaties ready for swimming.
Nice, nice.
Do the interview in the pool?
Yes, I mean it.
I do too. That sounds awesome.
Name, location, debut year.
Kristoffer Mäkelä, otherwise known as Ragnar the Ruthless. Location, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Debut year, 2018. Went and bought some brats and some ice and stuff like that, and some chips, and figured you guys would be hungry, so.
Where were you trained, and by who?
Dojo of Pain, by many different people. Shane Hills, main trainer, Stacy Shadows, James Vincent Roadhouse, Jay Cash. A lot of people have played a part in coming there, helping us, training, you know, teaching us new things here and there.
Do you believe getting so many different trainers helps you with getting different perspectives and learning new dynamics?
Absolutely. I think everybody's got their own little things, you know, whether it's footwork or putting your arm here and, you know, just little things everybody can, you know, contribute to somebody's training. A picture of me and my dad when I was younger.
What got you interested in pro wrestling?
I grew up during the Attitude Era. Like, my dad would throw me around as a little kid, you know, power bomb me on the couch, choke slam me onto the bed, stuff like that. You know, don't try this at home type of stuff, but we're still trying it at home.
Yeah.
And we watched a lot of it, but we were very poor. I grew up very poor, so we didn't have like cable. We had Friday Night SmackDown, you know, UPN. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, it was. I would catch up on what happened on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and you know, I didn't know anything about WCW or any of the other companies. I just saw SmackDown all the time, and
yep,
it was what I had.
I'm sure I'll see you.
So me and Elena, my mom and me, Elena's dad and her. Since Elena's mom passed away when she was young, and my dad passed away, so it kind of fits, you know.
So, what made you go from watching pro wrestling to wanting to be involved in pro wrestling?
I always thought about it when I was younger, but my wife kind of pushed me towards it. I was dealing with a lot, and I was drinking a lot, and it was more I needed an outlet. I was fighting just anybody. Mm-hmm. You know, it was more of an anger problem, anger issue type of thing. And one day she kind of came home from work. I was sleeping, and she goes, jumps on me on the bed and starts shaking me awake, saying, "The Hardy Boys are back, the Hardy Boys are back." He jumped onto my computer, and it was the WrestleMania that they returned.
Yep, in Orlando, right?
Yeah,
yep.
I believe so. And I was like, oh man, I would love to do this. I've always wanted to do this. And she's like, you need a hobby, you need an outlet. You need to either get back into mixed martial arts, or you should try wrestling. And that's when I messaged WPW, and they sent me to Shane Hills.
First impression of Chris. A kid that looked like he was lost. Looks like he needed some guidance in life, and I thought he had maybe what it took to do it, but we had to figure this out first to see who he was as a person.
Tell me about your time at the dojo. Like, what was your thoughts your first day at camp? What were your thoughts throughout, and how is it to still go back?
My time at the dojo was the hardest moments of my life. Shane breaks you down and rebuilds you back up. Like he always says, I'm gonna make you an amazing wrestler, but I'm gonna make you a better person when you leave this camp. And my family has said to Shane on multiple occasions, he's done a complete 180 on who he was. I used to be a really mean, angry, just hated person, you know. Shane kind of changed my whole life. You know, he's been kind of like a father to me. So, and then the boys on top of that, you know, Aaron Arsenal, Skylar Evans, Combat Kid. I trained with all of them, so it was they became like my little brothers. Cause I'm older than all of them, You know, I'm 30 years old. I started this when I'm 28. You know, who's to say I'm gonna make it that far or anything like that? You know, I'm pretty old starting into this.
Then he like kept coming back and he kept challenging me. So I felt like he really wanted to. He wanted a goal. I guess I was his goal. And so every time I got better, he wanted to get better. So that worked out.
So you became his rival more than he became your rival.
It was day one. Day one, he said, "You're my fucking rival."
Aaron was kind of like my rival. You know, I get into camp and I see this kid who's built like me, about my height, you know, doing all this stuff, and I'm like, all right, I can't turn back now. I've got to show that I'm, you know, even though I'm older than you, I still got it. I'm gonna still do this, you know.
You see where the bar is at now.
I see where the bar is at, and I got to go above it. You know, the blow-up drills and stuff like that. Anything Aaron did, I had to beat him.
Yeah.
You know, he's flipping the tire, I got to flip it faster.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing a plank longer than me, I got to do it longer than him. You know, that was how camp was.
Oh, Ragnar. Great to see you, buddy. What you doing?
Cutting.
That you are? You're doing a great job at that. You have a great fire, nice hot fire going.
Who have you really latched onto so far outside of your class of like Aaron Arsenal and Johnny CK and Shane Hills?
Kind of everybody. Everybody has just been real good about helping. Jordy, he helped create Ragnar the Ruthless. Tommy, Cash, I've asked Joey Jett lots of questions. All the vets, you know, they've just been, you know, if you mess up or something like that, they're gonna let you know. I think if you're a rookie, ask as many questions from as many vets as possible. You know, even if you're watching a show, why did he do that? Oh, okay. What kind of story are they trying to tell right now? Oh, okay. You know, it's the more questions you ask, the more you learn. Got my Finnish to English dictionary, because Finnish is so hard.
So you have a lot of pride in your heritage. Care to elaborate on that? Like where your heritage exactly is from and what gives you the pride that you carry with it?
So, Ragnar is from Finland, Helsinki, Finland. My grandmother is 99.9% Finnish. I've grown up in a Finnish household. My grandmother and my great-grandmother only spoke Finnish around me. I got the Finnish flag tattooed on my arm. That's my pride, that's my family, that's my heritage. It's something to latch onto, I guess. Like, it makes me who I am. It makes me think of, you know, yeah, we live in the US, but you can learn about the other countries in the world and stuff like that. And I like to tell people about Finland. That's a big thing for me. This is what we had our rings in. It's got all these cool Viking things around it and stuff like that. I suggest for a lot of people to, you know, do that research, do that history, find out where you came from. You know, that's a big thing. You know, if you don't know where you came from, well, you're just a person then. Shane just found out he was Norwegian, and he came into camp and he goes, "I'm a Viking too," and I'm like, "Awesome, Shane. Okay, so what are you?" "I'm Norwegian," and I'm like, "That's awesome," you know? Super cool. I love the history of people. I love the history, getting to know who you are and stuff like that. And then this was our, what we tied our arms with, the tying of the knot, stuff like that.
So you've had a bit of a colored history. Mind going into it?
So I grew up very poor. My father was an alcoholic. He was also a drug user. But he was also my best friend still. He was not a bad father in any means. I went to prison when I was 17, basically following the type of wrong crowd I shouldn't have been. So I did 2 years basically in prison, 5 years of probation, and during that time my father passed away from crack cocaine. It was a very rough period. He was my best friend. It was very rough for me to bury him. He was only 46, 47 years old. He had a long time. Yeah. The last thing we did together was we went to a Friday night SmackDown. And we saw Swoggle. And I will remember it for the rest of my life probably. But the greatest moment so far in my wrestling history has been I got to tag against Swoggle. The last time I saw my dad basically was when I got to see this guy. And then you get to wrestle him. That was one of the greatest moments. I was so scared. I was so nervous. It was just a feeling of, man, I really wish my dad could see this right now, type of thing, you know?
So how did you meet him? How did you meet Ragnar the Ruthless?
So we had a mutual friend, and she came up to me and she was like, hey, Chris wants to add you on Facebook. And I look over, and he's like, hand in the pocket. He's got a drink in his hand, and he's staring at the ground. He won't even look at me. So I was like, okay. And we didn't really talk for a couple months, and I just started paying more attention to his posts because I thought he was pretty cute. And then he came out to Access a week before Halloween, and we just really hit it off, and we talked all night out on the deck, and it was really awesome.
It's good to hear.
I had fallen deep into a deep, dark depression. I started becoming an alcoholic. I started becoming distant from people. And it was constantly failed relationship after failed relationship until I met my wife. And that was 6 years later. So that's 6 years of alcoholism. That's 6 years of depression. That's 6 years of not thinking you're good enough for anybody. That's where Shane's camp helped me a lot.
What do you believe about Shane's camp changed your lifestyle? What did it for you? The breaking you down and building you up, like drill sergeant style of it, or what?
There was a day at camp, and this was the first day my wife came to come watch camp. Shane likes to do blow-up drills where you do shoot fights. You tap each other out, see how many times you can tap each other out within 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. He went 10 minutes with me while Elena was sitting there, and he could tell that I was a prideful person. And he tapped me out so many damn times to the point where I was getting so pissed.
I do remember it because Chris was having a hard time. At that point, he had a lot of stuff built up inside that he needed to get out. And I always laugh because some people say grown men can't cry. I think it's good for a grown man to cry once in a while. And his wife was here watching him, supporting him, which is amazing. She's a good person for him. And at that point, he was tapping out a couple times here and there. And finally, I leaned into him. I says, "Yeah, you gonna tap out in front of your wife? Are you gonna cry too?"
I was crying. He would tap me out. My wife's sitting there watching me, and Shane's whispering in my ear, "You're gonna give up on me in front of your wife? You're gonna give up on your wife? You're just gonna give up? You're not gonna move? You're just gonna take this?" And it was constant.
And he fought, and eventually he got it reversed. That you could see that he wanted everything, and he finally got to a point where the fight was kind of over, if you know what I'm saying.
And finally, at some point, I built myself back up, grabbed him by the back of the neck, and it was two bulls locked into a combat. I wanted to take him down. I wanted to take him down so damn bad.
And the connection they had between each other when he was staring at her and he was crying and she was crying, and I was on top just kind of making him be that guy. Like it's okay to let your emotions out, but then again, you got to stand up and fight for who you believe in, what you are.
Got in the car after camp. I cried. My wife's like, "It's okay, honey." And at that point, I was like, you know what? Maybe my pride isn't everything. Maybe I can learn to take a loss. Maybe I can learn to, accept the things that I can't change.
Like here's a kid that was in prison, lost. Here he is, how many years later? He's got his love of his life looking at him, watching him, supporting his dream, and I'm glad I was part of it. I'm glad that it went down the way it went down, because now I think he's more in touch with himself. He's more in touch with the family. He's more in touch with the wrestling, the business part of the wrestling world that we're in. It just makes him a stronger person too.
A lot of guys, they go into camp and they leave. But if you're dealing with any type of thing, like this helped me, why can't it help other people?
These guys have it. You sure as damn hell know I have it. And I know what? You have it. Me? Yeah, you.
What would you say to other significant others that have, their other, I guess you should say, going through these camps and going through schools and being a rookie through here? What would you say to them to perhaps make it easier for them or more understanding for them?
I think the advice that I would give is just to be as emotionally supportive as you can. Go to the shows and meet the other wrestlers and maybe learn some moves yourself, because then you can maybe give him or your significant other new ideas to try out, and just try to be as much a part of it as you can.
The Mäkelä Kitchen, I think we're calling it, something like that. Yeah. Still workshopping the name, you know.
So what do you want your legacy to be at the end of it all?
Well, at some point I'd like to have a kid. Me and my wife have talked about it, and we've talked about wrestling right away. That would be probably my legacy. You know, if I don't make it very big, or I don't get real big named or anything like that, if nobody really even knows who I am Midwest-wise, you know, I would like, you know, to get my kid into it right away. As long as they're happy about doing it, though. Like, my thing is, I'm not going to push somebody to do something they don't want to do. That's a big thing. If they enjoy it and they love it and they want to do it, absolutely. I will push you so hard. And I will make sure that you have all the right tools in your toolbox to do it. My legacy, if that's it, then that's it. And I'll be happy about it. You know, I would love fans chanting my name or booing me and hating me for who I am and stuff like that. You know, either way, that's what I would want it to be. Fun. Because that's all I want it to be. Is just fun. I want to have a fun time doing this. Hey, this is Ragnar the Ruthless, telling you to check out Wisconsin indie wrestling scene. If you want to follow me, you can find me at Facebook at Ragnar the Ruthless and also on Instagram. Be sure to keep in contact with Wisconsin indie wrestling scene for all your local indie wrestling scene stuff. Also, you can find me on Pro Wrestling Tees Ragnar the Ruthless. Skull.